Bradley Jones joins me. These cars representing brute horsepower.
Well, that's true, David. I mean, the rules for these... Oh, almost had an accident there with that car swerving all over the track. The rules for these are very loose. You basically got a tyre size, engines are free, wings have to fit in a diameter box, but, you know, you can basically do what you want them. So it's a high bird category.
It certainly is. There's more freedom in terms of the specifications with these cars than most others. We can see there Keith Carling, who hails from Dubbo in New South Wales, on pole, a 1:56.16, which is well within inside John Bow's qualifying time, for example, in the Group A cars. Briggs on the outside of the front row. They're two certainly to watch. Vic Monterosso coming out of the inside of position 3 there, or grid 3, I beg your pardon. And he's a guy that can get off the line very, very quickly. A big field of cars and all manufacturers on display, Brad. One of the good things about the Trans Am category is the fact that we've really got everything represented. And certainly the Chevrolet engine is the most popular manufacturer.
Well, it certainly is. I mean, the body shapes vary, and some of them, like the Toyota Supra, for example, is slightly difficult to recognise it compared to the road one. But, you know, Chev's a very popular engine to have in this category, and, you know, does a great job. I mean, there's a few Porsches in there and a few other things, a couple of Fords. But, by and large, there's one of the old Benson Hedges Group A cars just going by. It's a good category.
Yes, plenty of excitement coming your way from the Tranzams. And we say Tranzams, don't take that literally, because there really is a variety of race cars out there. But Keith Carling and John Briggs in the Nissan 300ZX and Honda Prelude have been the pace setters here right throughout the weekend. Keith Carling from New South Wales, Dubbo, in fact, in the V6 twin-turbo Nissan 300ZX. Qualifying with a 1:56.1, then it was John Briggs, the Chevrolet-powered Honda Prelude, probably the lightest car out there, under 900 kilograms, I understand, qualified with a 1:56.3. So they are certainly the two men on the pace, and there they are on screen, forming up behind the pace car. Bright yellow machine of Keith Carling, one of the mainstays of sports sedan racing throughout this country for a long time.
And a beautiful car, well constructed when you have a look at it. So's the Honda. They're very well made, and getting ready for a start here now. They're all lining up behind the pace car.
A 10-lap journey, 45 kilometres around the streets of Surfers Paradise. The top bunch of cars here will exceed 270 kilometres per hour as they come down the Gold Coast Highway. Watch for Des Wall, car number 26, starting from position 3 inside second row. Plenty of experience in, of course, the Chevrolet-powered Toyota Supra, but plenty of horsepower coming from the Tranzams. We're not far off the start now. Pace car off the circuit, and it will certainly be stacks on the mill as they head towards the first chicane. Green flag on display, and the horsepower unwinding here down the Gold Coast Highway. And look at the horsepower of Keith Carling in the Nissan 300ZX. Stole a very big gap on the rest of the field. Gets through there safely. Lets some of the other cars as they negotiate the first chicane. They'll be using plenty of the racetrack. They're all choosing to get through there sensibly, and that's good news indeed, Brad.
Well, the last thing you need to do is spend the first corner. Bottlenecks a joint, no one can get by, and they're all using common sense here. There's no locking of the brakes.
So not surprisingly, Keith Carling jumps out, leads the field, qualified on pole, has been the four-man. John Briggs smartly up into second spot, qualified second fastest. He's a Queenslander, 6-litre Chevrolet power plant. These cars producing in excess of 600 horsepower. Make that 700. Carling makes a mistake. That it enables, obviously, John Briggs to make a move up on the inside. Plenty of horsepower. Got it down onto the racetrack. Wasn't really any wheel spin there, so obviously a good selection. And we can see the ex-Benson Hedges BMW car at the back of the pack. There it is now on screen, getting into all kinds of bother. Settling down, though, there.
Well, I'd say what's happened is for Keith's car, maybe the tyres are a little bit cold, and he's got the thing off the boost, turned in a little bit late, and of course with the Chev you've got the throttle response there the minute you want it, and he's jumped on that thing and gone straight past the Nissan, but he's caught back up with the Nissan now. He's all over him.
He's a race leader, very much under siege from Keith Carling, who's not going to take that lying down. Made a mistake, it cost him the race lead, but he's going to fight back. Make no mistake about that. And listen to the horsepower being generated by these race cars. Brian Smith, I just saw moving up very quickly also in the Alfetta GTV. He's been carrying all before him in the Australian Sports Sedan Championship. In fact, one of the 2 heats these cars took part in at this event last year.
Brian Smith all over Des Wall there. He's looking to press on and get up towards the front. There's very little between all these cars at the moment.
They're running fairly close together on the racetrack, leaning on one another, door handle to door handle racing. Some of the slower cars now starting to spread out. There hasn't been any major incidents so far, and that's news. Race leader settling down, though. John Briggs into a nice pace. Generating, in fact, his last recorded lap was 2:03, so they are really quite slow compared to their qualifying times. That's surprising just how slow, in fact, because they haven't faced any slower traffic so far in front of them.
If I remember correctly, last year they're tending to run out of brakes towards the end of the race up here because these cars aren't, you know, a little like NASCAR. They're not built to stop so hard. So I'd say they're all, you know, just being a little cautious and making sure that they're there in the end because, of course, you got to win, don't you?
Jeff Barnes in the Chevy Monza is up running third behind Keith Carling. There's the gap from first to second, then back to third. On the back straight now, the beach side of the racetrack. Been fairly blustery conditions here throughout the day. There were some spots of rain a couple of hours ago, but that's gone away, thank goodness. These cars would be nightmares to try and negotiate this 4.5 kilometre venue in. But Briggs doing a nice job. They're using plenty of the racetrack. There's Smith going through in the Alfetta. He'll be looking forward to improve from there.
We just missed the background. The guy in the Porsche is just turning that thing around there in the chicane, so I hope he doesn't get off the track.
Good battle now developing. You can see Barnes in third spot, moving up behind Keith Carling. That could very much develop into a memorable scrap over the next couple of laps. This obviously being a 10-lap race. And you see John Briggs leading the event fairly comfortably. Keith Carling is still in second spot, followed by Jeff Barnes. They are the top three. You're looking at the race leader, Carling, I guess would be a good 20 or 30 metres behind him, further back in second spot. No real change in the order, but certainly Smith and Wall are charging, as indeed is Barnes behind Keith Carling. There's Smith now tacking onto the back of Barnes' machine, the Chevrolet Alfetta GTV, the red machine, all the way from Western Australia, one of the real powerhouse performers in this category.
Well, he's moved up a couple of positions already from the start. He started out of sin, I'd say, you know, the way he's closing on Barnes there, he's about to gather another position up, and he's, you know, running a very smart race. He's just, you know, pressing on when he needs to. They're only 3 laps into it, and I'm sure he's going to be there as well.
When they come down the main straight, the Gold Coast Highway here, at around 270 kilometres per hour, the foundations rock on the main straight. Our broadcast box on the start-finish line gets a little on the shaky side. Watching now Barnes under heavy pressure from obviously Smith, who pulls up on the inside trying to find a way through. Decided not to go on with it there. That was pretty smart thinking on his behalf. Barnes currently third on the racetrack behind Briggs and Carling. But this Smith, all the way from Western Australia, a company director, loves his motor racing, a real fighter. And that's not the last time you're going to see him try and attack the back of Barnes' machine. Race leader though, Briggs. Next through then is Carling. Here comes Smith down on the inside. Couldn't do it that time. Again, Barnes slams the door shut in his face. He's going to have to try and find another way through. And obviously Briggs continues to lead this one. Back to Surfers Paradise. 4 laps now gone in this Tranzam event, and it's been all happening. The man that was leading the event, John Briggs, has now fallen back to about 3rd or 4th spot on the racetrack. Also Keith Carling, who you saw in the Nissan running second, made a mistake, crashed into the wall. As a result, now we see this fascinating battle. Barnes was the race leader. No, he's not. Not for too much longer. Peter Brock, who now joins me, because Mr. Smith, Brian Smith, all the way from WA, storms through, and now also Barnes under pressure from, of course, Kerry Bailey.
Yes, well, Kerry Bailey's got, that's the inside running. I can tell you that's the right line into that bit. I don't know, there seems to be a bit of toing and froing going on here with cars that have got the power and they seem to just fall by the wayside. But Smithy, we've seen him here last year, ran extremely well. He's from Western Australia, a beautiful little Alpha, big Chevy engine. And this guy's a hot runner. About that. He's usually in front. I don't know why he didn't have pole, but look at that. He's just drawing away.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job. Sees the opportunity. There's the replay. Major problem there for car number 18. Getting it all out of shape on the racetrack, and the other guys managed to get through fairly safely. It's been one of those motor races. Had a little bit of everything so far. And I dare say that will continue as the remaining laps unfold.
Joe Riccardio and his beautiful little Alfetta, same sort of body shape as Smithy's, but one of theirs, you mentioned, I suppose, that Smithy's is probably more highly developed.